takes to thrive, and we're with you to the end. For every goal you carry, for every room you want to fill, we'll help you stand with confidence and turn your vision real. Skills without borders, careers without limits. Borderless accountants, we built the dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help you live it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. Borderless accountants, this is what we're made for.
What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. tax skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program.
And tax prep, we make the path feel clear. Step by step, we build the way so success can start right here. Hands together, hearts aligned, a place to learn and rise. We lift our people higher and open wider skies. Skills without careers without limits, borderless accountants. We build the dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help our people higher and open wider sky. Skills without borders, careers without limits, borderless accountants. We built the dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help you live. If you've been waiting for a sign, here it is, come on in. You've got what it takes to thrive, and we're with you to the end. For every goal you carry, for every room you want to fill, we'll help you stand with confidence and turn your vision real. Skills without borders, careers without limits, borderless accountants. We built that dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help you live it. Skills without borders, careers without limits, borderless accountants. This is what we're made for.
What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program.
Books and tax prep, step by step, we build the way so success can start right here. Hands together, hearts aligned, a place to learn and rise. We lift our people higher and open wider skies. Skills without borders, careers without limits, borderless accountants. We build the dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help you live it. For the local dreamers close by and the ones far away, we create more than a course, we create a brighter day. A community that shows up with support you can feel. We share the tools, we share the light, and make your future real. Hands together, day. A community that shows up with support you can feel. We share the tools, we share the light, and make your future.
Kung walang in-person classes, ginamit ang mga teacher, nagpapabagong learning and service routine plan of modular at online learning. Pero, na-adjust ang face-to-face and effort para sa exam and lectures sa mga guru at learners.
All right, guys. Good morning or good afternoon. How are you guys doing? All good. All right. 7 on the dot. Let us call Maria to open tonight's session with a prayer. Go ahead, Maria.
Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts, thanking you for this new opportunity to gather, learn, and grow together. Thank you for the gift of this day and for bringing out each participant safely to this session. Lord, for your guidance and wisdom as we begin this session. Bless our speaker with clarity, confidence, ability to share knowledge effectively. Open our hearts and minds so that we may learn with understanding, ask meaningful questions, and apply the lessons we receive. May this session not only equip us with new skills and knowledge, but also inspires us to pursue excellence, serve others with integrity, and use our talents for good. Strengthen our commitment to continuous learning and help us support and encourage one another throughout this journey. We entrust this session into your loving hands. May everything we do bring honor and glory to you. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Maria. All right, guys. So without any delay, let us go ahead and do today's quiz. Like you guys are on my screen, and if you're using your phone, bring out your phone. All right. So there you go. And the link, I will be sharing that in the chat.
my God, na-late na naman ako. Late na naman ako!
All right, guys, last 2 minutes.
Hearing a lot of feedbacks mas tapos freelancing or online teaching, ang kanta, hirap online. So, tonight, so, kung makakakasok tayo tonight on this webinar na hindi kayo sigurado ilang yung gagawin. Where to start, and make sure that in the next 6 minutes after that, we're gonna use something that you can apply, right? So, simple this and definitely I believe something about foundation, right? So, ito yung magiging team natin, which is only gonna get see and then also learn how to start conversations. And then of course, those who imply how to get them to talk on. So, bago tayo magsimula, pwede bang malaman challenges mga attendees natin na ito na for clients.
Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, so let's end today's game. Let's see your scores and let's review the questions. Good job to our top notchers. I'm seeing a new name on top, Regina. Congratulations. Followed by Anthony, then Paul. Paul, I think it's your second time to be on top 10. Good job. And Marita, Francis, Don, Marielle, Dina, and Rina. All are familiar names already. Good job. All right, so let's review. Let me just unshare and then share again. How was the quiz? Was it difficult? Or the questions tricky? We got 67%. All right, so let's go through the questions together and see if it will help you understand why you got the question wrong. All right, so first question, which box of a form SSA 1099 do you actually enter into the software? We already know that from yesterday. It's box 5 because it's the net amount, right? Box 3 would be the gross, box 4 will be the deduction, and then you refer to box 5. As a matter of fact, in Bookkeeper itself, it actually indicates that particularly you'll have to enter box 5 on the form, right? So that should not be a problem. Number 2, what does box 4 of an SSA 1099 hold? So that refers to the benefits repaid to the SSA. So that's a deduction against box 3. Okay. Number 3, the net benefit from the SSA 1099 lands on which line of the form 1040? So we're talking about the actual form, right? So this is on line 6A, and then 6B would be the taxable amount, right? Number 4, what decides the figure that appears on line 6B? Okay, so it refers to the taxable amount, right? So we do the provisional income test. So there's 3 components in the provisional income. One is the AGI, second is the tax-exempt interest, and then third is the 50% of the gross benefit. That's box 3 on the SSA 1099. That determines whether whether the distribution is taxable or not, or a portion of the distribution is taxable or not. Number 5, why is line 6 covered after all the other line items for income? Because as mentioned earlier or yesterday, the income from box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 will have an effect on the taxability of the distribution, right? So that was very intentional why we put line item 6 on the 1040 last. Okay. Number 6, provisional income is built from 3 things. Which of these is one of them? Right, so if you look at all the choices, if it's for A, it's all of the gross benefits. No, right, it's only half of the gross benefits, which is choice letter B. For C, half of the taxable benefits, not either, right? And D, the Medicare premiums paid, it's completely incorrect. So amongst the choices, only letter B is correct. The other 2, again, were the AGI and the taxable or the tax-exempt interest. Right, number 7, which measure of income goes into the provisional income test? So AGI, excluding the benefits. Right, number 8, tax-exempt interest is never taxed. Why does it appear in the test? Right, because it can make the benefits taxable. So we already answered that when we covered the topic on the 99 INT. Right, so even if it's a tax-exempt interest, we still input that into the software because it can trigger the taxability of Social Security distribution as well as the alternative minimum tax. Number 9, can a client ever be taxed on the whole of their Social Security benefit? The answer is never. Okay, it's never the 100%. It's only maxed at 85%. So that 15% is free or non-taxable. Number 10, provisional income comes out at or below the base amount. How much of the benefit is taxable? So none, right? If the PI or the provisional income falls below the base income, if I remember yesterday, for MFJ filer is 32K, right? So if the PI is below 32K or 32K flat, then the Social Security distribution is non-taxable. All right, none of it is taxable. All right, number 11, which filing status has its threshold set to 0? So if the filer or the filers are doing separate, although they are living together. Okay, and what is the reason for that from the IRS? It's to discourage such filing status. Okay, so if they're living together, why would they file MFS, right? There must be some underlying reason there, which the IRS will discourage, right? So, but the IRS does not discourage it if they're filing, or if they're filing separately and they live separate as well for the year. Right. Number 13, where on the SSA 1099 do you find the Medicare Part B premium? It's the description panel. It's not in all of the boxes, but it's on the description. All right. And number 14, how can a client benefit from the Medicare Part B premium? So there are two, right? It could be if they're itemizing. So if they're itemizing their deduction, that can be in addition to their medical expenses. Okay. And I think number 15, what is the other situation? It's when they are self-employed. It can become a self-employment insurance. All right. So overall, you guys managed to do 67%. Not so bad. Right. How many got perfect scores? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not so bad. Right, 6 people got it perfect. Good job. All right. How do you guys feel after that? All right. So is the taxability based on PI calculated as graduated? So TP is joint filer and PI is 54, then is subject to 85%. Yes. So there's a tranche actually. A portion of it will be taxed at 50%, and the other one would be the excess will be 85%. Good job, Jason. Yeah, that is correct. All righty. Let me stop sharing my screen. Time check 7:25. We're not too delayed. All right. So if you don't have any more questions, let us go ahead and complete our session 2. So we still have I think 4 or 5 remaining forms to input today. They're one of the common ones, okay? Or I see them often, but not very common, okay? And a few things that you should know so that you don't make the typical mistake of someone doing data entry on the tax software, okay? All right. So today is session 16, all right? So we're going to be finishing the income block. Yesterday we did line item 6. So by now you should already know it by heart. Line 1 for wages, 2 for interest, 3 for dividends, 4 for the 99 are in relation to retirement account, particularly IRA. 5 would be company pension, 6 would be social security benefit, and 7 would be capital gains, right? You should already know that. All right, and 16, today's session will cover other income. This will not be in any of those boxes, okay? Not in one line, not in line 1, not in any of the lines between 1 to 7, but they will go into a separate schedule, okay? Because reason for that is they're not very common, okay? So a lot of these are going to go to the schedule 1. All right, so let's move on. So these are what we have covered so far, again, lines 1 to 7. And then today, we're going to cover 4 documents, particularly 1099G, a W2G for gambling, and then a 1099C for credit card debt cancellation. And then a 1099 MISC. MISC stands for miscellaneous, okay? And so we will need to decide which box the 1099 MISC will go, right? It used to be that the form 1099 NEC or non-employment compensation goes into a 1099 MISC, right? So the 1099 NEC for contractors, it's a new form. It's a relatively new form. It used to be in the 1099 MISC. So still there are errors when it comes to treating the income reflected in the 1099 MISC. Okay, so this is worth covering today so that you don't make the typical mistake of entering the 1099 MISC into the wrong field. Okay, because there will be consequences, right? There will be a consequence that will be unfavorable to the taxpayer if the 1099 MISC is not entered correctly. All right. So let's move on. So here's the timeline. I think that we would be able to finish early today, so that if you have questions, please do not hesitate to put that into the chat box. Okay. And before I forget, guys, I was supposed to announce it earlier. We're having trouble with Ground and Google Classroom. They're not syncing very well. I will try to fix that today, if not by tomorrow. So hold your horses. Your session 14 is already posted in Google Classroom, but if you are having trouble answering even other previous quizzes, simply because Wayground and Google Classroom is not syncing very well. So we'll fix that, and then we will make that announcement in our Telegram channel once that's fixed. Okay, but for now, focus on the review. Okay, everybody is experiencing that. All of you, actually, right? So wait for that announcement. All right, so today we'll be covering 2 1099G. One is for an unemployment compensation. So remember, in our tax organizer, at some point during the year, the primary taxpayer was unemployed, right? So when someone is unemployed in the US, they get a 1099G or an unemployment compensation, and this is from the state, okay? Not from the federal government. This is from the state, okay? And then they also receive a 1099G in respect to the state refund. All right, so they had a refund from the state from the previous year. In this case, tax year 2024. Okay, so can you guys quickly look into the 2024 tax return? Can you please confirm if the taxpayer did an itemized deduction or a standard deduction from 2024? Can you confirm that now? Look at the prior year return and check on the standard or itemized deduction. Did they itemize? They itemized. Are we sure about that? So you're seeing a Schedule A in 2024. Is that correct? Good. All right. So they indeed itemized last year. Reason why we ask that is because the state tax refund taxability will be based on whether they itemized or not. If they did not itemize, the refund is non-taxable. But if they itemize, then it becomes a taxable income and has to be entered into the tax software. Okay. If you don't put it into the tax software, they are actually under stating their income. Okay, and therefore they're understating their taxes as well. Okay. So winnings in full, losses barely at all. So we're also going to be talking about a Form W2G in relation to a gambling winnings. Okay, so one thing you ought to know as far as gambling winning is concerned, you also need to know if there are associated losses from that winnings. Okay, so if there were losses, then you need to obtain that information and the substantiation from the taxpayer. So in this case, Gregory said that there was about 1,900 of losses from the 2,500 of winnings. So we do not enter those yet because we need a substantiation. Okay, we need to ask from the taxpayer client that, hey, according to your tax organizer, there was a 1,900 associated losses to your winnings. Can we get a substantiation for that? Okay. All right. So we'll talk about where will that go. So where will we enter the winnings, and we're going to be entering the losses. Okay. And then we also will talk about canceled debt. Why is it an income? And when is it not? Okay. So are all canceled debt income? The answer is no. Okay. So if the income is, or if the cancellation is due to bankruptcy, and it's a personal bankruptcy, meaning it's not associated to the business, then it is non-taxable. Okay. And we would know that in the form itself. Or typically, if it's caused by bankruptcy, the one who canceled the debt would no longer issue the taxpayer a 1099 C. Okay. Because they would know, right? Before they cancel the debt, that insolvency would have already been tested, right? Because no one in his right mind would easily cancel a debt without having substantiated the situation of the debtor. All right, so we'll be entering all these documents. Again, we have two 1099-G, one W-2G, and then a 1099-C, and then we also have a 1099 MISC. All right, so we'll open those documents now, and then also our software. So let me open ProConnect. Where is my ProConnect? There we go. And then the documents are also going to be here. So your documents should be in Google Classroom if you have not downloaded those yet. All right, so let's get ourselves familiar with the forms. So first is the unemployment compensation. And see, you would know that this was from the state of California, right? And unemployment compensation goes into box 1. And then it's very normal for unemployment compensation to have a withholding amount, right? It's very, very normal because why? It is actually an income. It's a replacement of a wage, okay? And then this is a state refund, same format, 1099-G still, and this is also issued by California State. But you will see that this is on box 2 of the 1099-G, and it relates to the year that the year that it relates to is indicated in box 3. And then you have a W-2G in respect to the winnings, right? So 2,500 the winnings and the date 1. So this is a required form to be issued by the casino or the gambling institution. Okay, there is a threshold. I think we have gone past that. So for W-2G, for slot machine, 1,000 5,200 is a threshold, 5,000 for poker. So when you say threshold, it's a required, right? They're required to issue a W2G if the winnings amount to this. If it's below that, some or most or in practice, uh, they still issue, right? They still issue, although they're not required. Okay, but it's like a standard procedure for them. All right, so that's for winnings, and then we have a 1099-C in relation again to cancellation of debt. Okay, and then important thing to note here is code G. So the code for bankruptcy is A. Okay, so if it's not A, then it is a taxable cancellation, right? And then this is your 1099 MISC for miscellaneous income, and it goes under box 3, other income. Reason why it's on box 3, because box 1 is specifically allocated, or it's specific for rents. Okay, so when you have the taxpayer client who has a Schedule E on their tax return, they would typically get a 1099 MISC. So the usual issuer of a 1099 MISC for rental would be the property managers. Okay, so if you have a rental property and you ask someone to professionally manage your rental, so a professional rental or property management company will issue the taxpayer at the end of the year a 1099 MISC for those rental income. And then royalties also specific on box 2, right? And box 1 and 2, if you have income in relation to these two, this goes to Schedule E. Okay, Schedule E as an echo. But for other income, there are 2 ways that you can treat this. It can be a self-employment income, or it could just be simply other income not subject to self-employment tax. Okay, so this is where you have to be careful. Okay, because some will have a mistake of inputting this as a self-employment income when it should not be. Okay, because self-employment income is again usually supported by a 1099 NEC, or non-employment compensation. All right, so those are the 3, or sorry, the 5 forms. Now let's enter them into the tax software so you become more familiar. Okay, so for all of these, since these are income, all we had to do is focus on the income section of the form, right, or of the software. So for 1099-G, there is a specific field for that. Look at here, you have tax refund and employment compensation. 1099-G, right, is specifically indicated. Then what we do is simply, again, copy and paste. We already established that this is for 2025, applicable for the tax year that we're working on. All right. All right, so let's just say state of California. That should be okay. And then the identification. Because we are working on a cloud-based technology, so that when we indicate in state of California, it auto-populates its identification number. Someone may have already used this. Okay, I actually did earlier, right? So check from your end if it auto-populates this information, guys. Did it? Is someone following along with me right now? When you enter the state of the name of payer, did it auto-populate the EIN and the address of the payer? No. Okay. Maybe it was locally. Again, because I had used this earlier, because I tested the form before today's session started. All right. So that identification number is already there. The address as well. So what you do is go to federal. This is not for the spouse. Okay. So we don't put anything in here. If it was for the spouse, we're supposed to put 1, okay? But we know that this is for Gregory, the primary taxpayer. So for unemployment compensation, what we just do is simply copy that amount over here. And then don't forget about the withholding tax, right? So there is an 819 of withholding that goes under here, federal income tax withheld. Okay, now refresher form. So we will now look for that income, right? Where will that go? So that will go on Schedule 1. You can see here line 7, unemployment compensation, 8,190. And then if you go to 1040, it's going to go to here. Line number 8, additional income from Schedule 1. Okay, so Schedule 1 summarizes all additional income and adjustments, and the total of which will go under line 10. Okay, and then the part 2 is the adjustment, line number 26. That line number 26 actually goes down to here. Schedule 1 here, adjustment to income, schedule 1 line 26, right? So in other words, guys, Schedule 1 is an above the line addition or subtraction. Okay, because the line, when you say above the line, that means above the AGI, right? So any other adjustments after the AGI, they are called below the line. Okay, so below the line adjustment. So if you can see here, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, there are also adjustments. Okay, Schedule 1, 2, and 3, there are also adjustments, but they are below the line. Okay, so only Schedule 1 is above the line. Right, so you know, understand why this was done, because if it was not done, the form would be too long, right? So it would be too long, because what if the taxpayer did not have any of this income, right? Or did not have any of this adjustment, right? So if anything applies, then it would go to Schedule 1 and it will just break it down, right? If nothing applies, then there's no Schedule 1, right? Makes sense? So again, you're seeing 8190 on line 8 of the form 1040. Copy so far? Are you able to follow along? It's not that difficult, right? For unemployment compensation, it's very straightforward. Some tax form or tax software even just provide just one liner, right? For you to input just the amount and the state. That's it. Doesn't ask for an ID or whatnot. Also, of course, the withholding. All right, so that's for the unemployment. Now let's go to the refund. All right, so we'll just create another tab over here. And then if we go to the second document for today. So this is for the refund for tax year 2024. And we know that they itemized last year, right? So if you don't look at that and simply input that information here, okay? And again, you're not someone able to review your own work, you may make this mistake. I used to make this mistake too. So if you do that and you're simply just entering information, you saw 612 and you put that over here, state and local refunds, and you said, oh, you're done. It's very simple, right? Do you think you're done? In that case, do you think you're done? You're not, right? You will have to look what the impact of that on your tax return, right? So do you see that somewhere over here, right? Do you see that on Schedule 1, right? On Part 1, there's supposed to be a taxable refund, credit, or offset of state and local income taxes. You're not seeing that there, right? So that means you entered it incorrectly. Why? Because this income is taxable. Reason for that, because last year, the taxpayer itemized their deduction, okay? So they benefited from this. So what you do is, you're not done yet, go to state refund worksheet. All right, so income tax refunds if itemized from last year, okay? So you have to put that amount over here. So how much is that amount? 612. So put that 612 over here, and then put that tick mark here, itemized in 2024. Okay, so if you refresh your form, now you see 612. It becomes a taxable income. So your total taxable income as far as Schedule 1 is concerned has now gone up to 8,802. So if you go to 1040, line number 8, it's now gone up to 8,802, which is composed of your unemployment income plus the state tax refund. Okay, you only do this, guys, again, if the taxpayer itemized from the previous year. If they did the standard deduction, you may not even need to input the 1099-G for the refund. Okay, there is no need to input that if the taxpayer did standard deduction from the previous year. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You do not just enter the information, you actually check the impact of your entries into the software. You need to understand, okay, why numbers are coming, where that number comes from, and if you're supposed to input something that does not come into the return, then you would be able to diagnose the problem, okay? Right, so question from, I don't think you need to. So if you go back here to the main page, I don't think you need to put that there anymore. Let's see what happens. So this is just for ProConnect, okay? Some other software don't behave this way. But the point of the matter is that when you have a taxable refund, make sure that it shows in the form, okay? It shows in the 1040, regardless of what tax software you are using, okay? Because some tax software, they are entered differently, okay? And you would probably know that because by tomorrow, we will do demonstration using Drake, okay? So you would know how different it is as opposed to ProConnect. Okay. All right, so we're good so far. Now you understand, okay? Make sure again that you're understanding what you're entering into the software, and you're able to review your work and understand your work at the same time. All right, so 2 down, 3 more. Now we have winnings, right? From RW to G. So if you don't know where to go, the best way to do that is go to your table of contents, right? So for ProConnect, there is a specific line for gambling winning, right? So click on that, and then it's very straightforward, right? So you just simply copy paste the information from the income document. Right, and then input the payer's TIN, address. Guys, the copy paste functionality, you can do it in ProConnect, but not in Drake. So Drake is a bummer, right? When it comes to copy paste. That's why I don't really like Drake. Or I don't know if there is a copy paste function though with Drake. For those who have been using Drake for a while now, do you know if there's a copy paste function? But as far as my experience, every time I Control C and Control V in Drake, it goes elsewhere. So it appears that it does not allow copy and paste, which I don't like. Right. So this is for the primary taxpayer, so you don't put that there. Okay. So what you do is put that amount over here. The date of winning is 08/23/25. So whatever is indicated on the tax form, just copy that, copy and paste. Right. So there was no slot, there was no withholding. And some W2G will not provide this information. It will just provide the amount. So, but if you provide it with information, might as well just input that. Okay. All right. So now let's refresh. All right. So the gambling winning is going to go to line 8 on schedule 1, right? Gambling, line 8B, 2,500. All right. So in a case where we're able to verify from the taxpayer the 1,900 of losses. So where will that go? That will go on Schedule A, right? So any gambling related losses is going to go to Schedule A. So Schedule A is under deduction. And then go to miscellaneous. And then just type, just look for gambling. Right, so gambling over here. So note that the losses from gambling is only going to be applicable up to the extent of winnings. Okay, so there cannot be losses that will be claimed as a deduction more than the winning. So there cannot be losses on the return in relation to gambling. Okay, so if the gambling winning was 2,500, then you can only deduct as much as 2,500. Okay, never above 2,500. For 2026, I think I read somewhere that it's only limited now to 95 or 90%. Okay, so if we were able to substantiate that 1,900 deduction, we'll put that there. But note that even if there is gambling losses, remember that Schedule A is related to itemized deduction, right? So if this taxpayer is not going to itemize for this year, that losses is gone. Okay, so he does not benefit from the losses. In the case of our taxpayer, I think they're doing standard, right? In our tax organizer, did they provide itemized deduction, guys? No, right? I think we're doing standard deduction this year. So since we're doing standard deduction, that loss from the gambling of 1,900 is gone, right? He does not benefit from that. Okay. So unless he itemized, right? So for example, he has, let's just remember to delete this. Okay. So for example, he paid 30,000 in real estate tax. And then maybe mortgage interest of, let's say, 15,000, right? So now he will itemize, right? Because there's, significant increase in the deduction. So see here, Schedule A. So now he gets deduction for the taxes, and then he's got interest. And then you will see here the gambling losses to the extent of winnings, 1,900, right? So he now benefits from it because he's now itemizing. So his itemized deduction will now be 53,756. If you go to the form 1040, you will see that amount over here, right? Instead of 3,100, okay? But let's remove that because it is not actually the case for this taxpayer. We're not provided with information as far as the real estate taxes as well as the interest. So let's not do that, okay? That's just for emphasis, right? So again, for that 1,900 of losses, we still need to get the substantiation from the taxpayer. And even if that is substantiated, that may not actually impact his return, okay? Why? Because he is not itemizing. Copy so far? All right, so now your line 8 is 11,302. So where did that come from? So this is a sum of your taxable refund 612, the unemployment compensation of 8190, and then the gambling winnings for a grand total of 11,302. All right. So time check is 7:58. We still have 2 more documents to enter. That's a 1099-C for the cancellation of debt and 1099 MISC for other income. Let's continue doing that after our 5-minute water break. Okay. We still have 2 minutes though before we go on break. Do you have any questions so far? Everything making sense so far? So now you would know what to expect if there is Schedule 1, okay? Why is your refund not reflected in Schedule 1? So look into the worksheet, Annabelle, okay? So if you go to here, no, not miscellaneous, I'm sorry. So you go to here. And under the second tab for State of California, go to State Refund Worksheet, okay? So input that as an override here, 612, and then make sure that this is itemized in 2024. Okay, so if you did that, then it should come up. Okay, so it's now 8. Time to go on break. I'll see you in 5.
From every corner you can come. Bring your story, bring your hopes. We'll meet you where you are and help you learn to grow. With US books and tax prep, we make the path feel clear. Step If you've been waiting for a sign, here it is, come on in. You've got what it takes to thrive, and we're with you to the end. For every goal you carry, for every room you want to fill, we'll help you stand with confidence and turn your vision real. Skills without borders, careers without limits. Borderless accountants, we built the dream in it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. You belong right here, and we'll help you live it. Skills without borders, careers without limits. Borderless accountants, this is what we're made for. From every corner you can come. Bring your story, bring your hopes. We'll meet you where you are and help you learn to grow. With US books and tax prep, we make the path feel clear. Step by step, we build the way so success can start right here. Hands together, hearts aligned, a place to learn and rise. We lift our people higher and open wider skies. Skills without borders, careers without limits. Borderless account. Skills without.
All right, guys, welcome back. So let's continue. So 3 out of 5, we now have to enter 1099-C for the cancellation of debt. All right, so easy for cancellation of debt. Just go back to your table of contents. And for cancellation, because it's not very common, it's gonna get into here, miscellaneous income, okay? And if you're lost, just Control F, type debt. Right, so you will see here a portion, cancellation of debt, okay? And we already know that this is not in relation to qualified principal residence exclusion based on the taxpayer's answer in the tax organizer, right? So I think if I remember this right, this was in relation to a credit card, okay? So very straightforward. All we just have to do is this, input the amount. 4085. We don't need to input the date, the interest, and the code, okay? And then just refresh that form. You should see that on schedule 1, okay? So on your schedule 1, you'll see there, line 8C, cancellation of debt, right? That's very simple, guys, okay? Everyone able to follow along, at least for those who were doing it at the same time with me. All right, so 4 down, 1 more to go. So now we're down to 1099 MISC, and we know that it's not related to rent, it's not related to royalties. Rents, royalties we'll cover next week, okay, for Schedule E. So let's just do other income, right? So other income, that would also still gonna go here, okay? So if you're lost, same thing, just say other income. Okay. In other software, there is a specific field for 1099 MISC. Okay. In other software, but not for ProConnect. All right. So for ProConnect, there are two ways you can input it. Okay. So other income, if it is subject to self-employment tax. If it is not, then click in here. Okay. Other income. So you'll be able to put information here. This is due to a rebate, right? Turf conversion rebate. Just copy that and copy this amount too. All right, and what happens if you refresh your form? All right. So you'll see that here, other income, 1.5, and it says see other statement. So, or see statements 1. Right, you'll see that turf conversion rebate, 1,500. Right, and again, on 1040, that's amalgamated under line item or line number 8. So 1787 is composed of, if you want to see the breakdown, just go to Schedule 1. Okay, so all of your Schedule 1 related income are all going to be here. Okay, right, so this is where you need to be careful. Okay, because if you make a mistake of inputting this number in here, subject to self-employment tax, you may think it's a simple mistake, right? If you're not careful. So what happens if you put that in that box that says self-employment, subject to self-employment tax? Look what happens. All right, you now see Schedule 2, right? Schedule 2, if you click on that, it's actually your self-employment tax, 212, which is approximately 15.3% of 1,500. Right, so 15.3 less the half of the self-employment tax, it's about 14%. Right, so that's the self-employment tax in relation to the 1,500. If you want to see the calculation of that, you see Schedule SE. Schedule SE is for self-employment income calculation. So you see here that 1,500 was subjected to the test, and because although the flat rate for self-employment is 15.3%, you get the deduction of the half of it, right? So effectively, only 92.35% of that self-employment income is subjected to the 15.3% tax. So if you calculate that, 212 divided by 1,385, so that's the 15.3%. So it's not the 100% of the self-employment income, because the taxpayer gets a deduction, right? Half of whatever is the self-employment tax is a self-employment income deduction. We'll cover that in the session next week, because we are going to talk about Schedule C. Okay, so why did it populate Schedule SE for self-employment? Because in the form, you filled it out under other income subject to self-employment tax. Okay, and that's the usual mistake, right? The usual mistake, because it used to be that the 1099 MISC is encompassing self-employment income, but not anymore. Okay, with the advent of the 1099 NEC, that self-employment income has completely become separate from 1099 MISC. Okay, so do not make that mistake, because the taxpayer will be taxed 212 unnecessarily. Okay, so if you go here in 1040, the 212 is going to line item 23, for the self-employment tax, 212. So that's an additional tax. Make sense? So just don't make that mistake, okay? Good spot, you guys. So this is for the spouse. All right, so let's take that out. Good spot, guys. So let's put that under the spouse column. All right, so it should be in here. All right. So when you refresh that, that schedule 2 and that schedule SE should be gone. Make sense? You have schedule 3 for foreign tax credit, okay. And then you don't see any amount on line item or line number 23 on your 1040 form. Sorry, the 1099. Okay. I got confused, guys. So the MISC is for Gregory and Renee, so it's joined. Why is it joined? Doesn't make sense. So I think this is wrong, guys. Sorry, this is a mock document. This should belong only to one person. Okay, so let's just take it as if it's the taxpayer. When there's doubt as to taxability, put that on the taxpayer. Okay, so you guys are referring to the cancellation of debt. Good spot. All right, cancellation of debt. Where is that? So this goes here. Is that right? All right, this is Renee. All right. That will not impact the tax, guys, but there are scenarios where the income of the spouse and the income of the taxpayer will matter, okay? When it comes to self-employment tax. Okay, so for now, it doesn't matter, okay? Although administratively, you should get your inputs and your entries correctly. What I'm saying is that this change here or here is not going to impact, at least for now, with their income situation. Okay, do we have the same result, guys? So for those who are able to follow along, and for those who would want to follow at their own time, now is your time to do a screenshot. Okay, so this is so far our page 1. It's kind of small, or okay, let's make it visible in one's screen. All right, take a screenshot of it for now. And then this is page 2. If you guys want to do a screenshot. All right, so we should have the same result, guys. We should have the same result, okay? Because we're using the same document. All right, so that's about it for today, guys. you should all have entered all the documents in the client's or from the documents I shared in Google Classroom, and then have that entered into ProConnect, and we should have the same result. Okay. If not, then something is off with your entries. Okay, let me just prepare a poll, guys. I want to know who amongst you were already able to install Drake. So I will be creating a poll just so I know the numbers. Okay. Like you to answer this. Don't chat, guys. I will put that as a poll. Okay. Don't answer in the chat box. All right. So if you guys can answer that poll, would appreciate it. Just answer the poll, guys. We don't need to type in the chat. Can everyone answer? We are how many? 104 in the rooms. All right. Some of so 76 people answered. At least majority of the people that we have now already successfully installed. So 50. Good job. So for those who are using Mac, or for those who are having trouble with the installation, is it we're still providing support as far as guiding you with the installation, but if the error is due to your computer, we won't, because we don't have a technical support. It's something you can reach out Drake through email. Okay, so why is it that it's not allowing you to install? There could be something with your hardware. Thank you guys for those who participated in the poll. All right, so Anthony, let me. Okay, so for those who have not done the screenshot yet, I'm sharing my screen again, just the form. So that's page 1. Or can anybody, or actually, let me do it this way. I'll put this in the chat. So that's page 1. That's page 2. Okay. So for those who are not able to download and install Drake because of hardware limitation and for whatever it is, for the practical exercise, here's a workaround, okay? So what you do instead is screenshot each of your form, each page, and then put that in Microsoft Word or whatever version you have or similar application. And then paste it. And then afterwards, convert it or print it to PDF. Right, so in our case, for example, so put that in Word, right? Maybe format it in a way that it's pleasing to the eyes. Let's see, layout, version, right? So you may want to do it this way instead. And then for page 2, right? And then and so on and so forth. So I only need 1040, the schedule, and then yeah, so all the schedule and the forms should also be pasted, including the statements. Okay. Only from 1040 down. Disregard 1040V for now and all other forms up on top. Okay, so just the 1040 and the supporting schedules and forms. And then once you're done, you can save it as a PDF. Right? I think you can. Right? Save that as a PDF doc. All right. Copy. So that's a workaround that you can do so that when you submit your work in Google Classroom, it's all in PDF. Okay. Do you guys think that would work for you as a workaround, or does anybody have a better suggestion? Because bottom line, we just want to know that you are able to create a return, and we'll be checking that in terms of accuracy and completeness. Okay, because when we're preparing a return, we have to be mindful with the accuracy. Make sure that the social is correct, the address is correct, the zip code, the apartment number, the names, very important to be correct. So that's one category that we look into, or one criteria, the accuracy of your tax return, and then the completeness, right? So the completeness meaning all the related tax documents were entered and you did not miss a single number or single document, because if you did, your tax refund or your tax due will be different. Okay, so 2 things that we look into when we're checking your work, it's the accuracy and the completeness. Okay, you can also use Google Doc, also DL as PDF. Yeah, whatever it is that you will be using, bottom line is when you submit it, it has to be in a PDF format. Okay, easier for us to check. All right, questions, guys, clarification. Annabelle, were you able to figure out your refund? It should be taxable and it should come up. Or is anyone experiencing the same thing with Annabelle? And how were you able to figure it out? If you can assist her, please. All right, so we only have 30 minutes left. Few announcements. So I'll continue to work on fixing Wayground. But for now, I would hold off in sending the summative exam. I'll work on it tomorrow or maybe over the weekend. So you may just see that. It's anyway, the summative will not have a deadline. Okay. But of course, the sooner you complete it, the better, since all the lessons related to unit 2 is so fresh in your head. Okay. And then definitely by Friday, we will have the practical exercise ready for you in Google Classroom. Okay. So for tomorrow, I've already asked Janelle to demonstrate to everyone how to enter the documents of Whitfield in Drake. Okay, so that every one of you will see how it's done. And if you have questions, and I know some of you here are already experienced in relation to Drake, maybe you can also chime in tomorrow. If you have something that you can share as related to best practices or shortcuts, or things that we ought to know with Drake. So because I'm very in terms of experience with using Drake, I have very limited experience. Okay, and also honestly, Drake is my least favorite tax software. You will know tomorrow. Okay, now that you have been using ProConnect for several weeks already, there are features in Drake that are cumbersome, as opposed to ProConnect. But there are also good feature, and one of that is the reason why we're using Drake primarily for the exercises, is because it's easier for you to print to PDF. Okay, easier for you to print the mock return in PDF without having to do screenshots and convert them into PDF. And then another advantage of using Drake is that a lot of small firm owners really use Drake, right? In my experience, there were more than 5-6 clients that were using Drake. Okay, so if you put that in your resume that you are already very well versed with using the software, that can help you land a job, get a job. Okay, because Drake, again, is very affordable. I don't know, maybe very subjective. Some people find it very easy to use. Okay, some people find it very easy to use. Not for me though. Maybe because I've also been using several software already. Okay, so if you ask me what would be my favorite, I would say UltraTax and Pro Series. Okay, my favorite software. A little bit of Search. And ProConnect. I also like ProConnect for the reason that I can do side by side, right? Comparison, and it's cloud-based, right? It's cloud-based, so you don't need to access it remotely, because some software, they sit on a remote desktop, right? Like Drake, for example. Drake, when a firm uses Drake, they usually save that software in a remote desktop that you will have to access Okay, it's not gonna get installed in your own computer. Well, most of the tax software, the CERT, uh, Ultra Tax, Pro Series, they typically sit on a remote desktop. CCH, typically they're installed in your computer, right? If you're a Windows user, it's not compatible with a Mac. So another tip, guys, if you're considering doing tax prep, have a Windows computer ready, because like if you happen to work with a client who's using CCH as a tax software, you won't be able to use your Mac at all, right? It's not compatible unless the client will have that in a remote desktop, okay? Because Mac has this Windows app. So the Windows app will help you access the software remotely. Okay. Yeah, Drake have small boxes to fill in. Yeah, so tomorrow, Annabelle, Janelle will show us. And again, I'm expecting others to chime in. If you know better how to use Drake. Because here's the thing, regardless of what software you're using, for as long as you know how to input the tax form or the income documents, and you know how to review the 1040, it doesn't matter, right? So it's regardless of the tax software. And you will come to know, right? Because the Whitfield return that we just did or we just completed today, when you input that into Drake, it's gonna come up with the same result. Okay, it's gonna come up with exact the same result. So when you're also interviewing and you happen to have no experience with the tax software that the firm is using, it's up to you to navigate that question well. Okay, so I typically would say, tax software, they work pretty much the same way. It's just a case of navigation, and normally the navigation issue will just be in the first few days. Once I'm able to figure out the navigation of it, it's going to be a breeze. Okay, so the most important thing is that I know how to input the tax documents, and I know how to review the form. Right? It doesn't matter the software, because when you're looking for a job post, most firms would actually put that as part of the qualification, that preferably has an experience with this tax software. And some AI will scan the CV as well for experience with the software. So if your experience is, if you don't have any experience on that particular software, they will automatically just I would say filter out your resume. So in your resume, put as many software as possible, but don't claim that you are knowledgeable if you're not, because it's gonna come off. It may come up during the interview, right? There may be a test that will be asked if you're knowledgeable, to test your knowledge on the software. So be truthful in your CV. If you know the software, put it there. Um, if you don't and you put it there, it's a risk that you're taking, right? Because it may or it may not be asked. But if you put it there for the sake of you being, filtered by AI, good for you. But at least you study, right? There's YouTube tutorial that you can watch on how to navigate software. But in this class, at least we're gonna give you two software already, ProConnect and Drake, and then CCH will also expose you to CCH. I may be able to arrange for Ultra Tax and Less Cert. Okay. Yeah, those are the software I have access to for now. Maybe Tax Act as well, but not very common. Tax Act not very common. All right. So again, tomorrow, guys, I will not meet you, but I will be there for the first part for the quiz. And then I'll let Janelle take over for the Drake entries. And then again, I encourage everybody, because I know several of you are already experienced tax preparers who are using Drake. So I encourage you to cooperate and share what you know as well, to the community. And then by Friday, I will have the mock return ready. Okay, application of what we have learned from the beginning. All right. And then if you have time over the weekend, I'd like you to study Unit 3 on our PDF material. I think, let me just double check. No, not Unit 3. Where is that unit? All right. Yeah. So study Unit 4. Okay, business deductions. That would be helpful for both Schedule C and Schedule E. So we're getting a little advanced, guys. Right? We're getting a little advanced. The basics we have already covered. Okay. By now, you should already be able to prepare a basic tax return because you already were exposed to several tax document or income documents. Okay. Starting next week, we're getting a little advanced. Okay. So Schedule C, Schedule E, we'll talk about deductions, limitations on losses for Schedule E. And then a week after that, we are gonna cover, let's go back to the 1040. Yeah, so week after that, we're gonna cover below the line deductions, including credits. Okay. And so that's where 6th week. I think we'll be able to cover more topics on the 3rd week. So we'll talk about HSA, the retirement accounts, and the QBID, the qualified business income deductions, right? Those are advanced topic, but they're pretty common. All right, so you're so good, right? Not too overwhelmed. Are you feeling more confident now? Not just preparing return, but also reviewing return. That's what I want for you guys. Again, not just doing data encoding, and hopefully by the end of November, you should be able to get out there and have the confidence to go before an interview. Okay, so apply as many apply in as many job posts as possible. Okay, because November, December, up until January, that's hiring season for tax preparers. Okay, so do it whether part-time, do it even if the goal is, or the purpose of the hiring is just to fill in. Chances are you will get retained, okay, if you do very well, right? So when you get that opportunity to work even just for hourly basis, do very, very well, right? Because it's easy for someone reviewing a return to spot a really good preparer. It's very easy. And when you look at the return and the return is accurate, complete, diagnostics are cleared, the questions, the right questions are asked, right? It's easy for anyone who's been reviewing return to spot a talented preparer, guys. And most of the time, if the reviewer is also the firm owner. So the reviewer is directly the CPA or the EA. If you ask the right questions, like for example, question like gambling, right? Like gambling earlier. So if you don't see, if you only see W2G and you're not seeing losses, one possible question to ask is, we're seeing a W2 this year, but would like to know if there are associated losses to these winnings, right? Because it's very rare that when you're preparing a return, that all documents and all information is provided by the taxpayer right away. So there's always going to be a question. We call that open items. So there's always, like when you're preparing return, you always have you will come up with questions, clarification, maybe even additional documents, right? So for example, interest and dividends, right? So if last year you saw a statement from Merrill Lynch or from Charles Schwab, and especially if the amounts are significant, but you don't see it this year, right? So chances are the taxpayer may not have sent those documents yet, right? So rather than you completing the return, you come up with a list of open items and you either email that to the tax firm owner, or if you have a portal or a CRM, you put that note there. Or if you have access directly to the client, you ask that question to the client, right? So those questions, clarifications will determine how good you are as a preparer. And again, if you are talented, you will likely get retained by the firm, right? Past the busy season. All right. So our next meeting is on Monday. Yes. So tomorrow there's still gonna be a live quiz. Hopefully, the issue with Wayground Classroom was already fixed by then. So tomorrow we'll start with the quiz and then Drake demonstration by JNL. Friday we will not meet. Okay, I'd like you to spend the time to prepare the return. I'll make it available around 7. So that's for me to test, right? Like you to spend the next 2 hours preparing a return, and I'll monitor the submission. Okay, because that way I will know how long you typically prepare a return, right? Because again, a simple return should not take long. Okay, although you're not going to be scored in terms of timeliness, right? But the first ones to submit will be an indication that you're able to allocate the right time for the mock exercise, and that you're able to complete it or you're being efficient at preparing the return. But if you can't be available tomorrow because you have errands to attend to, you can still do that over the weekend. But the general expectation is that you be done by Monday, right? Monday before we start our session. Okay. If because again, life happens over the weekend, you're still not able to do it. There's no deadline. Okay, there's no deadline or hard deadline on Google Classroom. You can still submit your work even if it's late. That's okay. But I may not be able to look into it anymore, right? Because I will already be busy with the class. Marilu and the team will still mark your work, but I won't be able to personally look into it. Okay. But over the weekend, if you are able to submit your work, I may personally check your return. Okay. Right, because I'm looking for talented ones, guys. Ones that are easily can be recommended, or you know, if there's opening whether internally or externally, right? And I know a lot of you are already very good. All right. Any more question, guys? So tomorrow, for those who are still struggling with the form in ProConnect, I believe that the team will be there to help you. So maybe Marilu, if you can arrange for a breakout room tomorrow for those who are struggling with their entries in ProConnect between the hours of 1 to 5 p.m. if you can arrange for that. So the team guys, Marilu, Carm, JNL, and all the rest will be available tomorrow. So Marilu will post the time in the chat. So if you are like some of you are still sending errors or questions in the chat right now in relation to ProConnect, you'll get assistance tomorrow. Okay, so hop in Zoom so that you can share your screen, and the team can support you a lot quicker. Okay, and also for the Drake installation. Okay, so that the time between 7 to 9 tomorrow will only be dedicated to entries in Drake. All right. All right, you are all good, guys. No more question, clarification. All right, Reina, what is the usual supporting document for gambling losses? Usually, bank statement will be good, or an Excel file, an Excel file detailing the transaction date, the amount would be a good supporting document. Yeah, so a logbook, or what I typically get from the taxpayer client is an Excel sheet, okay, detailing the date that they that they lost and the amount. All right, so there's a tip from Paul for those who are experiencing errors in installation. It might be with Windows security. Okay, so if you can do that, I'm not really good with tech stuff, guys, so I can't really help on that. All right, so I guess we're good. We're wrapped up earlier than the schedule. We still have 9 minutes, but it looks like you're all good and excited for the Drake exercise tomorrow. I hope. I'll be watching probably too. Because I'm not very good with Drake, honestly. One thing I hate with Drake, sorry, hate maybe the strong word, is clearing diagnostic in relation to the due diligence, the form 8867, I think. It's just a pain. It's a real pain. But we'll talk about that as we go along. All right. So closing prayer for the day is Janelle. Okay, Janelle's gonna close today's session, guys. Thank you for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Janelle, go ahead.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty God, as we conclude this gathering, we pause to thank you for the wisdom, guidance, and strength you have bestowed upon us. We are grateful for the opportunity to learn, to share, and to grow together in knowledge and character. Grant that the lessons we have received today may take root in our minds and hearts, shaping us into people of integrity, humility, and perseverance. May we carry forward the insights gained, applying them with discernment and goodwill in our daily lives and professional endeavors. We ask for your continued guidance and protection that we may walk safely in our journeys ahead. Bless our families, colleagues, and communities with peace, unity, and compassion. As we depart, may your presence remain with us, inspiring us to serve with excellence, to lead with honesty, and to live with purpose. We entrust all that we have accomplished into your hands, confident that you will bring it into fulfillment. In your holy name we pray. Amen. In the name of the
Amen.
Father, and of the Son, and of the Spirit. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Jano. And thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. You have a good night. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program. What if the career you've been looking for starts with the right skills? Learn the foundation of modern accounting through U.S. bookkeeping. Build confidence in communication and stand out in the global workplace. Gain practical U.S. taxation skills used in the global industry. Welcome to the Borderless Accountants Intensive Training Program.